Important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. Anytime you have situations happening in your life, always be still. Don't overreact. Most of the people that I know, they say, oh, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm an observer. And as soon as something don't go their way, they get mad. I'm like, what the? If you overreact, folks, remember to do that. Don't overreact. And when you get mad, it's your problem. It ain't your wife's problem, your husband's problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen. But it's amazing to see it. So relax. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. How you doing, folks, on this fine Thursday? Tuning in on this fine Thursday. We got a bit of a show for you, and I do appreciate it. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Bit of a chill show. Call it Lucy, call it Goosey. I don't know what the weekend will bring, so we're just going through it. Through the packet of stuff today, all with all of you. I mean, there's some stuff going on, right? I just have yet to find the interesting things. That's happening. I'm sure it's out there. But we'll get into it, okay? We'll get into it with all of you, your calls. A couple of things here I want to get into. Maybe with some of the news, right? So you're all here. I do appreciate it. How you doing? We're welcoming all of you in. Taking it easy. Okay, like, let's keep you... Wait, what? Yeah, Nick, you better keep it serious. You guys, wait, what? What are you guys talking? Oh. I'm reacting to my chat. So don't worry, but if you're wondering, you're like, how do I become a part of that? You're always telling me about decorum. You're always telling me about this or that. You could join up. Okay, I'm on YouTube. I'm on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. Punchy.tv/Anchor Baby. So wherever you are, if you're listening, hello. You might want to call in. Something on your mind, something you want to talk. Is my volume really low? Mic check. Why does that always happen? Mic check, mic check. Welcome. What was I saying here? If you got something on your mind, something you want to talk about, that's 888-775-3773. What the heck? Why is this mic always so... Mic check. Amazing. 888-775-3773. Where we've welcomed all the people. Click the like button. Don't be rude. It's like you're mindless. You're like, you don't even know what built society. You're just the animal on the other side of it at the end of it all. Clicking the like button is part of it, okay? You were raised in a home of no consequences? Obviously, you were raised in a home of no consequences. It's clear. I see you in the chat all the time. Nick looks fat in that photo. He needs to update it. Which one? How you doing, Jules? What's up, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. Amazing. Sorry, I'm reacting to many different chats here, okay? We got Canadians in the chat. They're mentioning Terry Fox. Are you saying I'm an intellectual Terry Fox? Who are you saying is an intellectual Terry Fox? Anybody know that name? Or is that just a Canadian thing? Obviously, that's a Canadian thing, but the Canadians in the chat know who I'm talking about. That one-legged guy, right? Hobbling across America, right? He had like cancer, lost a leg. We have like Terry Fox Day, where we remember a guy I never saw do it. Like I only heard he did it in the past, but we have Terry Fox Day to remember. And he hobbled across Canada because he could. I'm doing it for cancer. I forget why he did it. I'm pretty sure when we had Terry Fox Day, the school they would take donations for like cancer and stuff. I don't know if that's what Terry Fox wanted, but. Are you saying that? Sorry, I'm wasting time here. Are you calling me an intellectual Terry Fox? Because that's this is funny, even though I don't understand it. Simply for the Canadian reference. How you doing, Leon? Thank you, Jules, Latin Patriot. Appreciate it. Rumble.com/American Anchor Baby. You're liking the stream. You're calling in. You're doing all the things. Okay, let's keep it moving. Amazing. Okay, so what are y'all doing here on YouTube? Welcome. Guy cut his leg off for kicks. I don't think that's true about Terry Fox. Shout out Terry Fox. When is Terry Fox Day? I forget. Terry Fox Day. Canadian athlete, Wikipedia calls him. It's in August. Okay, so moving on. Is that dull? Is that pretty dull? Nick, get to the news. Intellectually one-legged Anchor Baby. That might be true. Nick, get to the news. Do something interesting. It's so dull. Is that dull? Are you a dull man? Where are my dull men at? Okay, we'll get to the news, but there's something on my... I was scrolling through my stuff here. See, I send myself... I have like maybe a primitive way of saving links. I send them to my Facebook Messenger to myself. You know, everything has a share button these days. So I just share it to myself. And then it's just like a bunch of messages sent to myself. And then I try to ignore all the... I don't look at the rest of the website. I don't use it for anything besides my links. But, you know, as you open up your Messenger, the Facebook like homepage is always there. And for some reason, it's always showing me posts of this group that I'm not a part of, called the Dull Men's Club. The Dull Men's Club. Okay, I'll do this quick. It's just a personal gripe. Okay, the Dull Men's Club. They post funny things. Okay, and I quickly realized kind of like the vibe, why it was such a popular group. Sure, it was maybe a little boomery and like, okay, obviously these are older folks, and I mean they're calling themselves the Dull Men. I mean, I guess they're a bunch of dull men. And yeah, it was posts about their mundane lives. But you quickly gather all these men. The posts they have a humor to it, but the underlying humor is that the reason these men, all these men that are sharing these mundane dull pictures with each other, the reason they became dull was like in sacrifice to their family, to their wives. And some of the posts you get like men that are like, it's funnier to them. Some are, it's like, damn, it's like, You're really going through it, huh? But just let's just yuck at this dull post if you're following me. I've been in full-time work for 29 years. I've had ham sandwich every day for those 29 years. 365 minus 104 weekend days times 29 years equals roughly 7,569 ham sandwiches for lunch in my working life. For some reason, my wife has made me sausage sandwich for tomorrow's lunch. I don't know how to feel about this. And then they go on and like to calculate the pounds of pig he may have eaten in a lifetime. He says 49. They always put their age. And there's just funny quirks. Okay, it's silly. Okay, it's not that funny. But I have a gripe. Okay, it's my show. I can talk about it. Women ruin everything. They recently changed the group's name to like Banana for Scale. Okay, because they were choosing a gender neutral name essentially. Because a whole bunch of women started posting, and they didn't moderate it. It's called the Dull Men's Club, right? But women had just been posting and posting. Nobody kept them out of it. And they just post dumb things like, oh, look at this bag of carrots I bought. Haha, I went shopping. I'm so dull. And then, the part of the joke of posting for some reason, you're supposed to, like, when you post something, you put a banana for scale. It's like, I don't know, an inside joke. It's not like I even follow. Okay, I go look for my links for the day, and I'm fed the Boomerverse groups on Facebook that I'm yucking at a bit. I'm like, okay, you guys got me. And then the women ruined it. So then it's not called the Dull Men's Club anymore. Who cares about your bag of carrots? The reason they became dull is because of you. Okay, they did it in service to their family, to their wives. Okay, and you ruined it. Okay, the women they go into these spaces and ruin it. And they just like happy about it too. And you say anything, it's like, what's wrong with you? What are you, just a weak man? What are you, this or that? And then you get like defenders, little simps or white knights or whatever. But anyways, okay, maybe I'm dull. This is my dull men's opening. There's news to get into, calls to get to, okay? Minnesota, the retreat. Okay, maybe you guys want to talk about Epstein. Fine, we'll talk about it. Talk about whatever you want. 888-775-3773. It was my personal gripe. It was funny. It was humorous, and now it's gone. Some of you guys care about World of Warcraft. Not something I ever played. I played like Warcraft, like LAN parties when I was younger. Not the MMO known as World of Warcraft. But they say the women have entered World of Warcraft. Anybody who's up? As in like who's close to it? As in like they have a character on World of Warcraft. I'm seeing some of the signs. I'm seeing some of the claims though, and it's egregious, ladies. Why do you hate men so much? It's egregious. They're like, we're not feminizing World of Warcraft. I wish I could give you more details, but I'm realizing this is not that deep. Maybe watch somebody who plays World of Warcraft and they tell you their whole breakdown. This is why. This is wrong. And the women, they'd probably be right, but I just don't have it for you. Okay, but just look at this image. Warcraft 1995 on the left is like about pillaging and the humans fighting the orcs, and they're like rapists. They're rapists and they kill and they decapitate. It's war. It's war and craft. 2023. This is a real Blizzard image. It's a real image from Blizzard, the company that makes the game. This is Warcraft. Anyways, look, let me not hop on that. It's just kind of related to the dull men's thing. I don't have the World of Warcraft breakdown for you, okay? That orc looking. Anyways, 888-775-3773. We got to get into a number of things. We got to get to your super chats and all that. Although I want to say hi to Anthony out of SoCal. Appreciate your call, Anthony. You're on the air.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for taking my call, bro.
Yes, sir.
I was looking for this episode. I tried to call in a few days ago when you were covering the dogs in the UK.
Yes. Government. I forget what board or what branch of the government had decided the countryside must be diverse.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this is I'm just, I was trying to find some news articles relating to it and matching it up with when you reported on it. But this is like an ongoing thing in Islamic territories or places where there's predominantly Muslims in the area. And my underlying point, I know I call in a lot about Islam, and it's really because I don't think people understand that Muslims really take their books seriously when they have a majority. They stick to the book, which, their laws and everything like Sharia and everything like that is super primitive. It's really archaic. And a simple example like this is just when it comes to the banning of dogs. So I would just want to comment on that episode you had. What was it, last week or this week? I
think it was last week. But just talking a bit about government policy and their push. It's not like, just like a little diverse, let them come in. I don't know, we'll just leave the door open. No. They're like actively pushing them in. They're like, hey, UK countryside, we're going to just put these people here. Oh, they don't like your dogs? Well, guess what? We're going to change those laws. We're going to change you guys, not them. So that was like the quick summary of what I was reporting on.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame, man. I mean, so I want to call in with the reasoning behind that in the Islamic perspective. So Muhammad, he really didn't like dogs, and the reason that there's several hadiths where, for your audience, it's Sahih Muslim 5248, where Muhammad was sad one day, and it was because Gabriel had promised to meet him that night, but Gabriel broke his promise and didn't meet him, and Muhammad said it was because there was a dog in the house, and then Gabriel ended up telling Muhammad that he didn't enter the house because there's a dog in it. And also, if you have a dog, Gabriel actually said there was a dog or a picture in the house. So in Islam, angels won't enter your home if you have a dog in it or a picture in the home. Yeah, and then after that, the very next morning in the Hadith in Sahih Muslim 5248, says, then on that very morning he commanded the killing of the dogs, and unless they were used for protection. And what's interesting is if you're in the countryside in the UK, I'm sure that's one of the main uses of dogs, but for a Muslim, a dog is a dog. Another thing interesting in the Hadith is that
it really it really is like in their book, it's like religiously sanctioned. I don't know that word, but I just remark on it because I just thought it was cultural. Growing up in Canada and stuff, I remember, especially the more fobby brown friends and families, they're like, no, I'd walk my dog. I'd walk my dog. They'd recoil. I thought it was just like we don't have dogs around where we're from, and we just don't like them. But no, it comes down like it's like passed down like religiously. You're saying, and I can believe that. I could see that. I mean, I didn't know how much. It's funny to remark, and then you can answer, but it's just funny also to remark how people are so input output, just robots. My belief sets come from this. My family recoiled at dogs, so I recoil at the dog. I mean,
yeah, no, you're right. It really brings up like the pharisaical nature of Islam. It's really like it's physical action based, and it's down to the book. And if you don't follow it this way, then, like for example, in Sahih Bukhari, Aisha, Muhammad's child bride, she said that Muhammad told her that a prayer, so if you're praying, the prayer will be annulled or otherwise canceled out if a dog or a donkey or a woman passes in front of you while you're praying. So imagine this. Allah will not answer your prayer if a dog, a donkey, or a woman passes in front of you during prayer. Right? So that's the pharisaical nature of Islam.
Is there any is there any positive I'm trying to decipher it, right? Because sometimes, these old books, these old religious books, sometimes you'll say things that you don't quite understand. But if you try and think about the context or the time period, sometimes maybe in maybe in a metaphoric sense, you could say, well, wow, that's maybe good advice on how to have a better society, lead a better life. I'm trying to think of a good example. So having a woman pass in front of you in prayer, can we extrapolate that at all? Help me out here. Can you, as a good societal advice, any thoughts on this?
Oh, man. Not on that one.
I can't wrap my head around it.
But I could give them the benefit of the doubt with the dogs. Just let's just say they don't, let's just say they have rabies or something.
Right. Okay. We're above animals. I mean, that has some place.
Yeah, so if they want to stop the spread of diseases, then sure, kill all the dogs. But then I thought about that, but then I realized that Muhammad specifically said that if you see a pure black dog, that one should be a priority killing. You could have other dogs.
Hey, what the?
I'm not joking, dude. I'm not joking, man. I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah, man.
That's Abu Dawud 2839. So that's in their sources.
Couple of things come to my mind personally. One, because I understand there's been a mistake in the Western mindset. It's well, all the religions are practically the same, blah blah blah, and they don't realize they don't. And now the UK is. I had this coming up later, but the NHS they have this is wisdom from 1,000+ years. This goes back to popes who are hey, marrying your cousin is going to be pretty bad. Okay, we get to today. NHS is overturning this. They're quietly telling their hospitals that they don't discourage first cousin marriage. So I get your point. It's the Western mind is not gathering that they're not all the same. And they're definitely they're different, and they're the West is not understanding this. So I understand your call. If I may, though, getting past that, you were describing the pharisaical nature of these religions. Can they aren't they all like that? What are your thoughts on that? I see this pharisaical nature in all of them, and in like someone said, fantasies to control the peoples or whatever. Thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I am a bit biased, but I try to look at it. I wasn't always a Christian. I was raised a Christian, but then I spent a decade out of it. So I had some time to look at it, and going back into it. The thing about Jesus is he wasn't like that. So when it comes to the pharisaical rituals and practices, I mean things that are they kind of undermine the nature or the omnipotence of God. So it's for example, with Jews, how they could find loopholes on around doing work on the Sabbath, as if God is too stupid to realize the intent of your heart. So if in their religion they're meant to keep the Sabbath and not do certain things, but they still do those things anyways, but in a kind of a deceitful way, as if exploiting some kind of modern loophole. The idea is, well, your intention really isn't to keep the Sabbath. It's more so to find a way around the Sabbath. And likewise in Islam, it's you have these things. Just a simple example, with dogs. You really think God is just because your fake prophet said that a dog or a woman walking in front of you will cancel out a prayer. You think I know Allah is too stupid, but you really think that the true God will ignore your prayer because you have a dog walk in front of you or you have a woman walk in front of you? So, but what's interesting about Jesus is, he was against praying in the streets and doing all these wrote prayers, but he was more of like he really spoke about the intention of your heart. So it doesn't matter if you do all these rote prayers or not, or if how you look to others or what rituals you do. He's saying if you, and I've said this before on your show, if you look at a woman with lust, then it, as if you committed adultery. So you didn't actually commit adultery. No one, in an example, for example, that woman didn't see you looking at her. No one else saw you looking at her. But at the end of the day, God knows that is, it's akin to adultery, so it's like, so my point behind that is, I wouldn't say Christianity is like that because, and I say Christianity loosely because there are many different forms of Christianity, but you have these people that are like speaking in tongues and stuff like that, that think they're speaking in tongues, all this weird stuff. That I wouldn't really say are Christians. Yeah, or with like Mormons, you have them wearing, certain kinds of underwears so that for them to get to become like a supreme leader in heaven. What these so-called, I'm not talking about those so-called Christians. I'm talking more of like really just like the gospel message. I don't think it was very pharisaical, but I also think it goes back to what you're saying, where we live in a time where we just like equivocate all these religions and say, well, they're all this way. I think that's kind of just superficial. And when you really look into the gospel and what Jesus talked about, I never really got that idea. It's like you don't have to go through some ritual. Like, for example, when it came to the Gentiles, and circumcision in Acts 15, if you were not under the law before, if you weren't a Jew, then you wouldn't have to follow the rituals of the Jew. But if you were already a Jew, then it's like, yeah, you keep following your rituals because that's what you did before. But for Gentiles, you didn't have to do the Judaic practices. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Of like circumcision or the dietary laws and things like that. And that's in the Bible, so it's not like or that's in the Gospels, so it's not like it's a new invention it's not like a modern day invention where we just don't keep the laws all of a sudden. It's like, no, this is like heavily explained in the pastoral epistles and Paul's writings to the different churches. And that actually reminded me, I think Art's on a different note. Art said the other day that there's no mention of Christianity in the Bible when really there is. I think it's Acts 15 or Acts 10 maybe, where it mentions specifically that the apostles were called Christians in that time. So it's in there. Christianity isn't.
And this was in response to someone saying Christianity is not in the Bible?
Yeah. I think Art was saying, maybe I misheard him, but I think he was saying like
wasn't Acts like after Jesus and all that?
Yeah, it was written by the apostles.
Peter came around. He started writing letters to a bunch of churches. At that point, they were calling themselves Christians.
Yeah, exactly, and it's in there. It's in the Book of Acts. So it's not like some modern invention. I think that's what like Art was getting at. Maybe I don't know, man. It seems
to me like people do with the Christianity, with the Bible, what they do with literally anything else. And yeah, you could point out some differences, and that's not to say, well, you know what, I'm going to drop this, let the Muslims come in. No, obviously, when they're collected, you get cousin marriage and BS. So it's a problem. But I mean, it's just to me, right? In my ignorance, it's like I see Christians, they believe in like limbo or Mary's a god, something, some sort of intercediary or that your body needs to. Don't the Jews believe this? Like your body needs to go up into heaven too, or something like that. Like I don't know. It's a bunch of people who believe weird stuff. But okay, I got you, sir.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether. Yeah, I haven't heard of any of that, but yeah, I mean, maybe like Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, something Jesse was talking about at church at one point, and how he learned that about the Jewish, and I think it's also someone in church was like, yeah, the Christians believe this too. It's like in Revelation, and something about the body, and it's something about the body just being far too important. But look, Anthony, loud and clear, sir. Can you call me again? Anything else you want to say here before we move the wheels?
No. Thanks for taking my call, Nick. Thanks for letting me explain, say those sources. Yeah, I mean, Islam is, a problem, and we'll see what happens.
Call me again, Anthony. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. Bye-bye.
888-775-3773. Religion. It's immigration, right? It's a bunch of people and their beliefs, their parents' beliefs. I'm not like a expert on the books. Islam is uniquely, I've heard it described as like a very political, warfare-like, but nothing. I mean, it's just things I heard. I'm not an expert. I think people, it seems like your average person doesn't even read, for example, like all the things Anthony's talking about. It's like those particularly, sometimes they call themselves Orthodox. They call themselves like super deep into their religion. Call them the radicals of the religions. And they fight about, well, no, there is a limbo because Jesus went down to the hell, right? It says it here, and whatever. You don't know. But yeah, immigration. Okay, the headlines are all around like the Minnesota retreat. Okay. And so I want to talk about it just a little bit here. Because, okay, essentially, I mean, look, where do you start? I mean, you have to start with Operation Metro Surge. Okay. That's Trump administration. Operation Metro Surge, which is concluding. That's the news. I mean, it's a large-scale deployment. You have thousands of immigration and customs enforcement, and other federal agents that arrived into Minnesota. This is late last year. Going on into this one, you know this. And it was aggressive raids from the get. We're talking incarcerating them. We're talking grabbing up if you do a raid, you grab anybody up. They're illegals and criminals too, sure. They're getting out too. Kids, whatever, family, process them all. In the Twin Cities area, as they call it over there. And so you saw that. That's how that started, right? It was Operation Metro Surge coming down. And then you saw the massive response. Okay, the reports came out. They're racially profiling. Remember that? That was first. They're like, they're going after brown people. Mexicans are brown. I didn't know this. I didn't know Mexicans were brown. How dare you? Massive fog of war and confusion in the minds of the people. Are Mexicans brown? Wait, brown Mexican? Wait, but they're racial profiling? But are they? Right? Cognitive dissonance. They're shocked at the brownness of Mexicans. But okay, so they're saying it's racial profiling, and it just kept ramping up. They're grabbing up people that are not just criminals. They said they were going to go after the criminals. And look at the stats. They're rounding up people who are just workers. They're just illegal. They're just illegal though. But they're just right. Their moms, dads, just workers. They're not even criminals, right? They're not. And then the protests, schools, etc. Renee Good, Alex Preddy dead. That's the score. That's the story. And since then, you had the deaths of the 2 U.S. citizens during these encounters. Keith Ellison, attorney, what's his title again? Attorney General. Other Minnesota officials, Tim Waltz, right? They're cajoling the folks, telling them, hey, get out there. And at the same time, they're taking they're suing the federal government. That's essentially what started happening, calling it unconstitutional. This federal invasion of these people coming in, a violation of state sovereignty. Keith Ellison sues ICE, because it doesn't agree with the constitutionality of the whole thing. And things have been going down since, right? It's been messy. They call it messy with Renee Good, Alex Preddy. And personally, you could say this or that, like, was it a good shoot or not with Alex Preddy and these little details? But all those people are arguing in this frame, this mental frame that I'm not in, okay? And it's clear the country's not in. A lot of the government's not in. The Republicans are not in this frame of the right thing must happen, and it might be painful, but it's like we're talking about deportations, and we're talking about deporting people who don't want to go. You think that might get a little spicy? Yes, it might. And even if so, the rule of law must prevail, right? This is just like simple view of things. And it doesn't look like Minnesota wants it in a big way. And they tell you this, you'll see the headlines, you'll see this and that. But the truth is, they don't want to deport at all. They're against deportations. They're against putting criminals in jail. They don't believe being here illegally is illegal. There's no one illegal. And so they oppose the government in a deep way like this for that reason. You understand that this allowing ICE to deport, having any positive thing there, is a unacceptable scenario, a non-negotiable term for the left. Fascinating, don't you think? But they don't always say it. Here they took these people, they took Keith Ellison and others to the Senate, right? This judiciary oversight meeting over this stuff because they're saying it's unconstitutional. They're suing ICE, trying to stop it all. And he reveals what we all know with those paying attention, what we know. Keith Ellison essentially doesn't believe people here illegally. It's an illegal thing that's illegal.
Big shot lawyer like you. Just a quick question. If you enter the country illegally or you overstay a visa, should you be deported?
My simple answer is, sir, it depends.
Okay. So if somebody breaks into your home, should they be arrested for breaking and entering, or does it depend?
It's an entirely different scenario.
How's that?
Because immigration is essentially a civil, and breaking into my home is a criminal matter.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So if there's laws that should be enforced, so we shouldn't enforce civil violations?
We absolutely should enforce them.
But you just said that it's a civil matter, so it's different. So if somebody
you enforce civil matters.
So if somebody commits,
but how will you enforce the civil matter in this case then?
A civil infraction, it shouldn't be enforced.
It should be.
Okay, so they should be deported.
No, they should have due process that is associated with their petition. So, for example,
so the act of entering the country illegally, you think we should say, well, did you really do it or not do it? It's pretty obvious that they did, right?
Well, I mean, it would depend on the facts of the situation.
The facts is did you cross the border illegally? I mean, this is like stuff that but you understand this is what's in opposition. This is what stands there in opposition. Let me see here. Where was I? In opposition to this whole thing, they don't believe that there should be deportations. They don't believe in ICE deporting anyone, criminals, etc. But where was I here? They're grilling him over there. He has this. They're suing ICE. Something that is not rare. You could do that, but it was filed in January. They had a hearing. U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez ruled against immediately stopping the surge, but acknowledged the state's strong showing of profound and even heartbreaking harms, including community disruptions and the 2 deaths. A separate ruling found ICE violated at least 96 court orders. And then with this, the public cry and the the protest, the 2 deaths, they're saying, Tom Homan is saying that he has, what's the word he used? I'll let him say it. Petitioned the president, and that the president agreed to end Operation Metro Surge. Let's listen to Tom Homan here, who came in after, they switched up the leadership after some blunders, some possible blunders from Trump's people, like Bovino, and the things they may have said about the case or otherwise. So that Homan came in as a different leadership. Call it cleanup, whatever.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue through the next week. We have a lot of work to do across this country to remove public safety risk who shouldn't even be in this country, and to deliver on President Trump's promise for strong border security and mass deportation. Law enforcement officers drawn down from this surge operation will either return to their duty stations or be assigned elsewhere to achieve just that. We will continue to enforce Title VIII immigration law throughout this nation. Prioritizing national security threats and public safety risks makes sense. But I'll continue to say over and over again, if you are here in the country legally, you're not exempt from our immigration laws. If we encounter you, we'll take appropriate enforcement action. For those that say we are backing down from immigration enforcement or the promise of mass deportations, you are simply wrong. Look at the data. Record number of arrests and deportations under President Trump's first year. And we'll continue that effort. Prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats doesn't mean we'll forget about everybody else. We will take action on everybody else. That's just a stone cold fact. A small footprint of personnel will remain for a period of time to close out and transition full command and control back to the field office, as well as to ensure agitator activity continues to decline, and that state and local law enforcement continue to respond to ensure officer and community safety. Additionally, federal government personnel assigned to conduct criminal investigation into the agitators, as well as the personnel assigned here for the fraud investigations, will remain in place until their work is done. I will also remain on the ground for a little longer to oversee the drawdown of this operation and ensure its success. In closing, I want to thank the leadership and senior management that I've worked with for your efforts into these issues, determine deficiencies and challenges, present solutions, and implement improvements that will benefit how operations are run and executed nationwide.
And that's Tom Homan there on his announcement. As he said, he proposed this to the president. They're concluding Operation Metro Surge. And there, you heard the framing there a bit, okay? Heard a little bit of the frame, very positive for the Trump administration. I mean, they're saying this is not a back it down. I mean, this is essentially Tim Walz. Minnesota has essentially worked with us. We're getting what we want, so we don't have to be so tough. And there's talk about the record, 4,000 arrests, improved cooperation. What does that mean? I don't know. But it's improved cooperation. We could put them in the jails, in the local jails, allowing more detentions. You got to wonder, how does that look like moving forward with a drawdown of the agents? But they say it's like a working with Minnesota, which will result in the significant drawdown of agents. Now, Minnesota they're saying the same thing, right? Call it mixed. They're saying it's a win for them, too. I mean, Tim Walz, they're like, it's a step in the right direction, a deep sense of gratitude and pride to the Minnesotans for protesting, all this stuff. Keith Ellison, who's been suing, I played you that clip, he's been demanding an immediate end to this federal invasion, meaning ICE get out. That's what the protesters are saying. And he's championing it. He's like, yeah, right on. And so that's how it's going down. I mean, it's a little bit mixed in in terms of, call it a material conditional wins for which side. It seems like both get a little bit of this and that, and that's really the state of things. Okay, and I'm sure this emboldens maybe others. I don't know, other states and all that, but at the same time, it's like these other states. What will happen, right? California moving forward, but it seems to be a state of stability. They're working on it. The CNN articles are still like, "Hey, this is the worst guy ever." They're canceling immigration hearings. Did you hear about this one? You know, but it's as it stands, it's there seems to be these pulling. What's it called? Threads. These interest. What am I looking for? Like, just there's gravity. There's gravity in. There's a gravitational pull from the outraged populace. They're calling these Marin polls, saying 70% of the Americans are unhappy with the ICE stuff. That includes like Republicans and all that. It's a lot of like silly, a lot of people who aren't. They're just not on the current page. They're not with it. They're like, I'm voting Trump. Oh, this looks bad. This looks bad. What did you think it was supposed to be? So there's a huge gravitational pull. There's a gravitational pull from the status quo. We want labor. We want this and that. You know, you'll hear Trump and the administration say, well, we'll leave the farmers alone, etc. So it just seems like that's real. That's just the state of things, right? It's not this paradigm shift throwing off the chains of the old political discourse. But is it illegal or not? I mean, if anything, as you see, they've gone further. I mean, if I look at old clips over the immigration debate, it was not debated that an illegal was an illegal. But now it's like, well, it's a criminal illegal distinction. Well, they're not committing crimes, so they're not really an illegal that you need to deport or anything. So, you know, that those chains, in a sense, are there. But I don't know if any, like, I was saying this when Trump became president, like at the beginning, like, are you guys being realistic? Is this the ethno state? I remember we were talking about ethno state a bunch. Like, is this, I love Trump and all that. Like, yeah, no more immigration, but where's the realism? You think Trump is the ethno state president? So anyways, call it the Minnesota retreat. I mean, it's just this is the state of the public. That's how it is. And I don't know is there the will to bulldoze through and say, well, we're deporting anyways. Is it even the time for that? I don't know. So anyways, Keith Ellison, ICE, Minnesota. That's all that mess, whatever. Jade in California, how you doing? You're on the air.
What's up, Nick?
Hey, Jaden.
Is my microphone good this time, or is it still bad?
You're coming in clear.
Okay. I was just watching some of the Epstein stuff. You know, I'm not gonna say I read the files of these people. I don't read. I'm a quarter black. But like, you know, I've been looking at some of the images and stuff, and yeah, I remember Jesse saying, like, to people, why
you're coming kind of in and out. If you can fix that, please.
Okay, is this better?
Way better. Go ahead.
Okay, so Jesse was telling people, why do you care about the files? I remember him saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand it until now. And I see all these people, I talk to them in real life too, and they're talking about they're going to like revolt against the government now because the Epstein files, like literally violently revolt against the government. And I'm sure online there's probably more organization of that type of stuff. And it's just like so weird to me because it's like these people are going to, you know, kill every last elite and kill every last, and usually it's just people who talk about the Jews who say this stuff, right? So they're going to kill every last Jew, every last elite, and then they're going to go home and, you know, like Jesse says, they're going to cry at night. They're still going to be, you know, miserable. They're still going to be in hell when the thrill of like this rebellion stuff is down. I think it's just kind of wicked. I think that you shouldn't even be concerned about Epstein unless you're literally like a police officer or like a judge or something. Like, you should have almost no concern about Epstein or what he was doing on the island, because it's not happening to you. It's not even directly affecting you or anyone you know. So if it's not directly affecting you, why don't you just like leave it in the hands of the people who it's their job to take care of it? Am I wrong for thinking that way, or what do you think?
No, you're so right, man. Concerned people are not trustworthy. Concerned people are easily fooled. Concerned people don't care about the truth. Concerned people don't care about anything, about facts, anything true. So I don't trust concerned people, and I don't trust concerned people to find any truth of the Epstein, true victims, true blackmail. I think that's a good. I think that's a good instinct, because have you noticed that concerned people are tripping about all the wrong things? There's so much. You don't need to be concerned to find the truth, to investigate things. If you're a law enforcement, I don't want you to be concerned about anything. Okay, I want you to just get it right, and get the fact right. So you don't need that. And I totally agree. That's the wrong instinct. And if you notice, there's so much wickedness surrounding this stuff. To just add a little bit more to what you're saying, there's so much wickedness around it. There's people tripping about clerical errors, and then there's liars in Congress who are seeing the people trip about clerical errors and then add on to it like, oh my gosh, look at what's in the files. AI generated images, literal falsehoods, easily verifiable falsehoods, and people are tripping.
Yeah, and that concern, I don't even think that's like real concern. I think it's just like an exciting thing that they're like bored. We're living in the 21st century. There's no war to go fight. There's no crusade. So they got to use that energy somehow. They're just bored. They're like, oh, let's go, fight the government. I don't even understand. Maybe you have a better idea, because I know you talk to a lot of these anti-Israel, anti-elite people. But like, why do you care about that? Like, I care about, like, I'm
Epstein?
concerned about like the elites in general and like what they're doing to our nation. And like, I'm concerned about illegal immigration, but because that directly affects me. Like, I've seen it personally. I have had stuff stolen from me by illegals. I've been disrespected by illegals. They don't even speak English around me. I've had lines when I go to these food pantries, and there's like 20 illegals in line. There's nothing left by the time I get there. It's like directly affecting me. That's why I care. I don't see why these people care so much about Epstein. I mean, is there like a reason that they're so concerned about what's happening?
I guess you'd have to ask them, because everybody has their own rationale, no? Have you heard any rationale have you heard any of the rationale? I've heard rationale that's ridiculous. And I've heard rationale that even if I don't agree with, I can understand someone asking that, like, hey, I don't want my politicians blackmailed. Like, you could be like, whoa. I mean, if you're sitting down really believing that, where's the evidence of that? It's kind of where I maybe push back a little bit, but to go back to what you're asking here, I mean, you have to ask them, what's the rationale?
Fair enough. I mean, you talk to more than that's why I was asking if you understood their rationale. I really don't.
Some. Okay, so many are like just listening to people. For example, that's happening. Like, I heard this guy say, I trust him and I like him, and I heard him say it, so now I'm really into it. There's people who are like, they seem to be concerned about foreign influence, blackmail rings. So others are concerned about satanic pedophile rings. I'd like to see their evidence on these things. There's implications, strange things, sure, coded language, sure. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not an expert either, and I have no opinion on.
Like,
go ahead.
Even when I was an atheist, I knew that there was some stuff going down that was wrong on the higher levels. I mean, that's just like a given. That's been going on since time, immemorium.
What?
And I just thought, even back then as an atheist, well, hey, I'm never going to change that. Like, if people thousands of years ago couldn't change that, I'm not going to go change that. The only thing I can do right now is make my life as best as I possibly can in the current state in which I live, right? And as a Christian now, I was reading the Bible a little bit, and I was reading about Babylon. You know about Babylon?
Sort of.
Like, Babylon was a very corrupt nation. Same story, right? They were pagans, satanic worship, and God was telling the Israelites, you got to submit to the Babylon, man. They're your rulers. they're making roads for you. They're giving you jobs and stuff. And don't do the satanic stuff, but like live in the world, live in their country. They give you some freedom in the country, so go do, get a job or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's like the right attitude to have. Is like, yeah, America's corrupt. Yeah, there's pedophiles on the top. What does it got to do with me? I mean, that doesn't stop me from getting a job. Doesn't stop me from getting millions of dollars or a wife and kids or overcoming, anger or fear. That doesn't stop me at all. So I don't even see why get up in a fuss about it.
Is someone in a fuss about it and saying they can't do those things because of Epstein or something? I'm missing your point.
People.
Okay, it's just a lot of people like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know. I don't know what to talk. But yeah, I'm glad we can agree. I just don't see leave it to the freaking police, bro. Corrupt people will eat themselves. Like, one corrupt person is going to have goals and another one will have another, and they'll clash, and that is where the order will come in my eyes.
I hear you, man.
All right.
Jada, man, call me again. I appreciate your call. 888-775-3773. Yeah, what do y'all think? Some of you are like, I kind of care a little bit. Tell me why. Yeah, I feel like the vast majority of the public is they're motivated by like they're motivated by like emotion and stuff. So yeah, it's like the vast majority. I generally agree with him. Like, yeah, stay away from it. Like, it's obviously going to nuke your brain, and you're gonna trip. You're gonna get emotional about it. But some people I've gathered from my caller, some people it's like, okay, fine, I won't do that. But I think there's some sordid things that our politicians are doing, and that's why I care. And so, that's just the rationale of some of my callers. I got more callers, by the way. 888-775-3773. What do you got to say? Maxwell out of Wyoming. How you doing, Maxwell? Appreciate your call. You're on the air. First-time caller.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Hey, Maxwell. Appreciate it.
Hey, with the Epstein thing,
yeah.
I think it can kind of be important to like not be ignorant of like the doctrines of devils, and but how people are reacting about this now, how it's like all popular, because like all this stuff was in literature, like all the stuff these evil people are doing is like in literature, like from them like many years ago, and people who are just finding out about it now are just like late to the bandwagon, but they're totally dealing with it in the wrong spirit. It seems like they're just using it as an excuse to hate white rich men and hate Jews even more.
Help me understand. I sort of gather what you're saying, but yeah, you're saying that this has been in literature. What do you mean? They're late to what party? And yeah, help me understand what you just said.
Yeah, everything that's been exposed now has been in literature from like 20, maybe even 30 years ago. And so people who have been actually reading have been privy to all this information, so it's not new.
And you mean just kind of like the darkness of elites or just other things that have come out so-called in the Epstein files?
Yeah, well, I guess some would say that it's been going on since the time of Babylon. Some call it the Babylonian mystery school system. And so it's been going on since the ancient times, and I don't think it's going to stop. It definitely is not going to stop. And so the other guy was right that, we just got to focus on coming to Christ ourselves and work on our immediate, our household. And then that kind of spreads out to the town and then hopefully the city, the good kind of shines a light on things in that way. Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm following. You're saying, yeah, for the people who are just realizing that and if you haven't been specific about it, yeah, that there are dark things happening in the world. It goes back to Babylon. Yeah, you guys are just late to the party. I mean, I'm following that commentary. Am I running cover for Epstein if I'm like, well, where's the proof for Epstein on these things? I mean, I don't really have a dog in the fight. It's just like I'm fascinated by the quick conclusions and how the desire, there's obviously a desire, so deep desire to like just believe, like really want to believe a lot of these things. And I'm not saying either way, but like, show me the email, show me the proof. I have an open forum here for those reasons. Thoughts, please.
Well, when I was like waking up, I was learning. I was following Jesse at the time, and then he helped me overcome my anger. But I also learned like the evils of the world, like basically the Epstein stuff, and they're trying to do the most evil stuff imaginable. Like it's almost beyond imagination. And they have this whole ritual system or whatever. It doesn't even matter. But it made me want to become a Christian in the world. And I could see at that time that was the most important thing, is that I become a Christian and I be saved. And I could tell other people, about Christ.
What's that like?
Not necessarily tell people about the evils of the world, but it made me want to become a Christian and made me want to tell people about Christ. And I think that's maybe the right way to do it.
How'd you do that? Become a Christian and become saved?
By putting my trust and faith in Jesus and believing him, I did do the forgive my parents thing. And there is real power in forgiveness, something definitely moves in heaven when you forgive your mother and your father for, because they did try their best, and it's wrong to hate them. And so when I forgave them, then God forgave me, and then kind of that God-shaped hole in my heart was filled with God, and I had perfect peace for a full year. It was kind of insane. And I don't know if that saves you exactly, but around the same time, I trusted Christ, and I gave him my life for sure. And now I put him first in everything.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
So, wait, sorry, did you have a question for me?
My question was about belief. Jesse says, you got to be careful what you believe because it believes in you and controls you. Has that ever come across your table?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well,
that's definitely something I pondered. I mean, in retrospect, in many ways, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm fascinated by the quick conclusions, and all just the assumptions made. If I say one thing about Epstein, now I'm doing this in the other people's minds. But it's like I'm actually, what's more accurate is I'm just a guy with probably as much as info as you, maybe more in other areas or something. And on things that I'm more sure of, I say, and then I tell you, hey, I'm not sure about this or that. But the mind is so interesting. It's like they're so sure of what's happening in my head and what Epstein was doing and
right.
So,
Yeah.
What you believe believes in you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Hey Nick,
your thoughts real quick. And then go ahead, ask me your question. But I was about to ask you your thoughts on Epstein here. I guess the files is something going on. What's going on? Nothing going on. Your thoughts
with the Epstein thing? I don't know. Is it important to focus on? Probably not as much as. Yeah, I think you're kind of on point with that a little bit. People shouldn't be ignorant to it. And, but yeah, we shouldn't focus so much on it. And I see the people in my daily life, it's just an excuse to hate rich white people and excuse to hate Jews even more and stuff like that. And it's like, what can you really do? What can we really do, And we should actually focus on that.
I did see a bunch of that. There's no reason to hate. I mean, he's calling people goyim or whatever in his emails. I'm like, is that every Jew? And it's like, well, Nick, that's just like a not all, but most things. Is that a reason to hate? It's like, did you forget everything? Just like the moment you saw some email, you just let me forget everything I did. You don't remember yesterday? You were like so heartfelt, like, yeah, you know what? I'm wrong for being angry. So you're just gonna throw that all away? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not every Jew, and it's like, oh, not all, but most. Nick, it's like a thing about culture. That's not a reason to hate.
Right. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but
sir, man, thank you for your call.
Thank you, man.
Call me again.
Talk to you later.
Maxwell, 888-775-3773. Some of you are asking, Ghislaine? What are y'all saying? 888-775-3773. We can talk about it. We can talk about it. Yeah, we could talk about it. I mean, in my mind, essentially, it's like this. It's like, okay, it's like an old thing, heavily litigated. A lot of the people already went to jail / got payouts / blah, blah, blah. And there's a big, like, a big aspect of the whole thing is like a Me Too thing. They're trying to tell you things that are pedophiles that it's not. They're trying to tell you people that were sexually trafficked and raped when they weren't. And it was and it's a lot of like feminine. They're trying to tell you he's a convicted pedophile when he wasn't. That's only something you could say if you think anyone like 17-year-olds, you're attracted to a 17-year-old, you're a pedo. So that's how that whole thing, which puts a lot of things dubious in my mind. You got the Democrats coming out saying, "See, it's like these women. Look into their eyes. Don't you care about these?" So there's that whole thing. I have little opinion on the Trump world covering it up. It's like, I don't know. I mean, 3 million files. They say they got 3 million more. The law says you're supposed to put it out. It's all, what else was I thinking? I was trying to parse out the Epstein, the Epstein friggin' the scale here. Who am I talking to? Zenny out of Canada. How you doing, sir? Nice to hear from you, man. Go ahead.
What's up, my fellow Canadian?
How you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Yeah, I had to get in on this Epstein.
Let's get into it. Yeah.
Let's get into it. I mean, I definitely agree that you shouldn't be, spending too much of your energy, like, going through all the files and just, like, I don't know. I mean, there's a certain point where it's like, yeah, I mean, you're not going to go gather SEAL Team 6 yourself and go take these people out. So there's a certain point where it's like, okay, there's not much we can do. And I do think that's part of why they've released it kind of like this, to just give you a little bit of, like, we all know something sus is going on over there, like, from what we've seen in the emails. I mean, some people haven't really gone through them or aren't really paying attention, but when you see the numerous ways they're talking about Goyim and what they're doing with the markets and stuff like that, obviously that's not right. Obviously that's them subverting and using the system against us to keep us subservient and peasant in a peasantry mindset. But yeah, there's a certain point where it's like, yeah, you shouldn't focus so much of your energy doing that. You should put your energy towards things where you can actually make a viable change in your real day-to-day life, working a job, being, an example of Christ to people as best as you can. Like, if you can, spread the gospel as best you can. It's better than spreading fear and, like, yeah, I mean, and another thing, like, I don't think it's not hatred. Like, me, when I talk about Jews, I don't hate Jews. I just notice a pattern, and I talk about the pattern that seems to be largely negative. It's the same thing talking about black people. It's like people talking about.
You have a lot to say about your fellow Jews, Zenny.
Yeah, and I had a lot to say in the past about black people when BLM was like the whole fad. I was going on saying, did you know that 13% of the population create all this, havoc and turmoil and violent crime? And that was like, yeah, that was then. But, like, the thing is, there are forces behind all of this that are making the Western. We see the Western world decaying before our very eyes, do we not, Nick?
I think so. Yeah.
It's kind of decaying. And, like, if you look at Europe, it's really
taking
over real quick.
Yeah. Allowing cousin marriage. Whatever. We'll just allow cousin marriage. Just let him talk, whatever. Just let him do this. Whatever. Christianity. Whatever. Christmas. So sure. I'll say yeah. I'll say yeah to what you're saying.
And, like, you see Spain, how they just they elected some far leftist government, some communist government, and they were like, okay, we're going to allow 500,000
Nobody
immigrants
wanted it.
came.
Nobody voted for it. They're like, well, we got to. We need, and you can imagine why. It's electoral power, so voting power. It could be all just corrupt reasons. But yeah,
So you have all these, and you lineups of all these Pakistanis, Indians, Africans at these like police stations just lining up to get their papers and stuff like that. It's like, this is the destruction of Spain. Like, there might be no coming back from that type of demographic attack.
Is that really Jews' fault though?
Sorry?
Is it really everything you just said is Jews' fault? Like to the
Jews'
degree you're
fault.
implying, maybe, or
Well,
or
I
help
do
me
think
understand what
Jews-
you're thinking here. I mean, express yourself.
Yeah, well, I do think Jews have a very large influence in terms of liberalism in general, like the pushing liberalism, pushing the idea of multiculturalism. Like Soros has like the Open Society Foundation, which is basically like where he's literally pushing the open society, which
And so do Mexicans.
but they don't have that type of outsized influence. It doesn't seem like they do.
Wait, say
I
that
mean,
again?
Bad Bunny has some influence. He's not Mexican, but you know.
But you said they don't have that
he's up
kind of
there.
what influence?
That kind of influence on the like politics, or let's say like Hollywood. Mexicans don't own Hollywood. Mexicans don't own or don't have like this high.
Why would you say that when? Why would you say that when they seem they're in politics? They have huge voting numbers. They you know, they support their politicians, AOC, blah blah blah. Like they're in the streets. They seem to have pull. They seem to have a gravitational pull that you can't say no to in certain respects.
Latinos
You know?
definitely have a pull, and they're definitely getting more pull every day as this idea of the open society or multiculturalism permeates and becomes more and more part of the Western world. But as we see, like there seems to be a giant pushback against that, where the Western world and the developed world in general is trying to see that this multicultural open society just doesn't work.
Hey, you might be right about that, but that's already a little different than, you know, the 500,000 in Spain and the West, Nick, and these people coming in that you can't do anything about it, and it's because of the Jews. It's already a little different. You know, you might be right about what you just said, but, you know, I saw Dennis Prager the other day, and now it's an older clip, but he was like, the Jews are behind every ism. And I was like, oh, Dennis Prager's not a guy to just say things. I mean, obviously, what he was talking about when you watch the whole thing, he's obviously talking about the record of liberalism in Jews, and for example, being involved in civil rights and being involved in those things.
Exactly. Like the civil rights wouldn't have happened without Jewish lawyers and Jewish activists and Jewish judges, and all those and a lot of these liberal ideas and liberal policies are put forth by these same type of Jewish lawyers, Jewish judges are approving these things, and the fact that like Latinos have
wait, now that's a little bit of a stretch. No, you're just like the Jewish lawyers, maybe in the civil rights. Like, how are you talking about now? You're talking about immigration and all the things you talked about. It's all just Jewish lawyers and Jewish.
It's not just. I'm not saying it's just.
That's
there's a lot of good.
That's
goys.
why I ask, because don't you think it's
an
an important thing?
There's a lot of good goys who go along. There's a lot of good goyim who like to go along with.
Okay, so when it's a judge that does the things you described, that's because of a Jew too. If they're not a Jewish judge or whatever, you're saying if they're for all the things you described, that's because of a Jew too. Help me understand that. That sounds
in the sense of the Jews created the ideas that are behind all these things. Like let's say like a Jew created the term melting pot. You know, there's one example of how.
So all the people who believe in melting pot moving forward will always be the fault of a Jew.
Well, if they created the idea, then they're the foundation of it.
But like, confront what I said. Like, realistically, though, would you really say that everybody moving forward now, in perpetuity, anybody who believes in a melting pot, that's truly at the core is the fault of a Jew? Do you really? Are you?
If the term melting pot wouldn't exist without a Jew, then yes, sure.
But how is that?
It wouldn't exist without.
If no Jew created it, couldn't a Mexican have created it later when they wanted to divide America?
Let's talk about reality, though. But they didn't. A Jew did.
But I'm not here denying that, right? I'm not telling you a Jew didn't do that. So when you say, Nick, let's talk about reality, we're actually not talking about reality, because I'm asking you about reality. I'm asking you about in perpetuity. Would you blame everybody moving forward who believes that America should be diverse or a melting pot? That's the reality of the question. So would you blame Jews for that? I think that's a fair question.
I think multiculturalism in its very essence is a Jewish idea. So yes.
No, but what I was asking about is in perpetuity, will you now blame moving forward anybody who believes in such a thing? Will you just say, well, that's because of Jews?
if they are the foundation of the idea and it wouldn't exist without them, and they push it constantly, then yes.
That sounds not.
Sure.
That doesn't sound like logical to me. I mean,
All right,
and again, you have to understand what I'm saying here because I'm not denying what you said, right? So if I'm not denying what you said, it's like, oh, fine, Zenny. I'm neither agree, disagree. If that's the history, that's the history. But my question pertains to how much does it matter if, let's say, I'm confronted with a bunch of Mexican communists who say, well, diversity is blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, Jews, look what you did on this one too. Or am I being ridiculous in asking this question? I mean, think about this.
No, I don't think you're being ridiculous.
Thank you. That's all. I
rest
rest my case.
It's a valid question, but I do think like let's say, okay, if a bunch of Marxists, are taking power in your country, which is basically what's happening in the West, and Jews created Marxism, then what are you supposed to think? Like, you're like, okay, well, if they created this whole idea and they keep on pushing it, not saying all of them do it, but most of them kind of do it in various different ways. Like, I don't know any Jews that's like, yeah, I don't want a multicultural society. Like, literally, like, all of them say they want it because you know the reason why? Because they don't want to stick out. They don't want to stick out in
and
all
neither do
society.
These other communists I'm talking about, these other POC groups. So again, it's not even a denial of what you're saying. I'm asking about its importance, and it seems like in what you say, you've allotted quite a huge importance. But you would have to back it up because you're saying, well, Nick, these things that are terrible happening in the world, there is because of Jews. I mean, it's one thing to say Jews had an integral part in the civil rights movement. They created this or that ism, and that's why they maybe even in perpetuity do it today. They're following this tradition. I mean, those are all different than, in my opinion, unless I'm missing, I'm being super naive. You're allowed to tell me. It's like, in my opinion, it's like that's different than the importance of what I'm asking about. It's like if I'm confronted by a bunch of Mexican communists, it's like, does it matter that the Jews created it at that point?
Well, if you want to
matter a little bit, fine. I'll say that.
If you want to deal with the root of the issue, then it does. If you want to just keep on fighting endless battles against all different shades of communists, then you can keep doing it till perpetuity. But if you want to deal with the root of the issue, you have to remove people from power that don't have your best interests in mind.
Well, that's like an actionable thing that makes sense in a lot of ways. We're talking about who is in power, who is elect, right? We're talking about I still would like maybe to conclude that, to go even further. What would you say? Because you're saying you're never gonna deal with it if you don't get to the root of it, or else you're just gonna deal with shades of communism. Help me understand, what is the root? Are you telling me that to defeat communism, you have to tell people that it's Jewish? Help me understand that. Or also,
I think you just have to be mindful about who you're supporting politically. I mean, if these people are taking money from AIPAC, you shouldn't vote for them. And hopefully I know with Gen Z, like when Gen Z gets into some voting power age, of which they kind of are approaching, then things are really going to shift in that way, and that people won't be voting people who are beholden in any way to Israel or the Jewish lobby, which has been described as the most powerful lobby in Washington.
In that case, you would be suggesting people vote like people. You're suggesting people vote against those that don't have America's interests, right? Yeah. Which is more than just Jews, or am I tripping? It's like, hey, America, you're about to wake up from communism. I'm about to teach you. I'm Zenny. Don't vote for Jews, or else you're bringing communism. And it's like, oh wow, Zenny, I'm so awake.
Well,
but here's the part I'm missing. It's like, isn't it more than just Jews that do that? Wouldn't I miss the other communists? Like, or am I? Go ahead, please.
But it's the Jews that let the other communists in the first place. So that's the issue. The issue is that the Jews who.
But in your hypothetical, where the world is woken up, they're following you, Zenny. They're like, nope, we're not voting for any Jew. But yet, look at this communism brought it by others or whatever.
Well, I'll obviously don't vote.
I know this is hypotheticals, but please help me understand how that's the Jews' fault too.
Just vote for the nationalist, the one who's going to put your country first. Like, vote for Canada first, vote for America first, vote for the people who actually have your nation's people's interests in the front of their mind. Not these people who are thinking these globalist ways about how they can give your taxpayers money to this and that country or for this and that, whatever. And we see it here in Canada the most.
Understand some of that. I mean, that's why I was asking.
I think I'm one of the most radical, because in Canada we're just seeing the real face of communism and Marxism taking over, and it's horrible. It changes you.
But have you noticed? Have you noticed how many very Canadian and French names back all this stuff? I don't know if you've noticed this, if you even follow Canadian politics, but it's always always very Irish. It's not Jewish last names of the politicians in Canada, and a lot of time too, it's just like totally brown and like Indian and like Pakistani. But I don't know if you've noticed this, but the politicians in Canada, it's not a lot of Jewish last names. They're Irish, they're French, and they're like Anglo. I don't know if you noticed this.
Yeah, no, there's definitely not a lot. You don't see a lot of Jewish politicians in Canada, but like every single political party is like but every single political party is like will go to their B'nai B'rith dinners and
true?
Pierre
in
Poilievre. Oh yeah, Pierre Poilievre. He was like, I'm just a goy from the prairies.
He said that.
Oh yeah, he does this famous line that lost him all his hardcore.
Wait, you're talking about Pierre Poilievre? Okay, I'm not the one following. I'm not following Canadian politics. Wait, there's like no Jews in Canadian politics. This guy's he's saying I'm a simple goy from the prairies.
Yeah,
it's a pretty big honor for a simple goy from the prairies to stand before you today.
Exactly right. There's so little of them, and yet you have to go out in front of them and do your little jester tap dance with your hat on.
Bro.
Put your little hat on.
Zenny, man, I appreciate. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's just like the line that they all have to toe, and we see like that shooting the other day, like that was horrible, and it's just. And it's crazy because like we just have a liberal government here that's just literally giving our taxpayer money to fund teaching kids about trans crap, and it's like then you have our prime minister crying about it. It's like, bro, you literally have a trans daughter. Like your daughter,
Carney, right?
Yeah, she might be the next shooter.
That's crazy. I disavow, but
I was hope seeing, not, but like could be like you're teaching your kids the same stuff.
I know. Yeah, that's
So basically,
you're telling the world a lot. You're like, I'm trans. I have a trans kid. You're telling the world it's like you got problems. You got problems in the home.
Oh yeah,
you got major problems.
So basically, I'll even take a Trump MAGA, make Israel great again, 51st state over whatever we got here. This is how bad it is over here.
Carney got Zenny saying MAGA. Zenny, man, I appreciate your call. Can you call me again?
All right, bro. Have a good one.
Take care, Mike. All right, let's keep it running. We got Steven. Thanks for the patience. Maryland, you're on the air. Thank you, Steven.
Hey, how you doing?
How you been, sir?
I've been doing great.
Glad to hear it.
I'd like to know when was America great again? What year?
What year was America great?
Yeah. That they want to go back to, the MAGA people.
Call it like a gradient, I bet you could just keep going back and every year before was better to some degree. I don't know where the cutoff is. I haven't thought about it.
Well, start with the first cutoff.
Let's say before the civil rights movement. Although I wasn't there.
You think America was great then, before the civil rights movement?
I heard it was. I heard it was even like great during, sort of, but yeah, I heard it was.
You mean when they were treating people like second, third class citizens? That was great.
No, when things were a lot cleaner, safer. They were great American cities. And I have to assume some of this, but they weren't running from the centers of our great American cities as they do today. That's kind of what I'm thinking of, And plus, the stuff you're bringing up, I heard, is exaggerated.
What?
Yeah, the mistreatment of the races.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're talking about what do you mean? What do you mean by the mistreatment? Can you give me an example?
When my people, me, couldn't go here, they couldn't there. Because I remember I was coming back from when I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I was stationed at Keesler Air Force Base. We stopped at this joint. They said I had to go around to the back to get my food. Why did I have to go around to the back to get my food?
Because you were free.
What? Why couldn't I get in the front with everybody else?
I'm sorry, am I getting this right? You went to a private establishment and they asked you to come in like a different way because you were black?
Yeah.
Kind of how they had to have, they used to have the white drinking fountain, the black drinking fountain.
Yeah, back in the days, back then.
Yeah, because you were free.
When Jesse
That's why they did that. Am I wrong?
Why?
Because whites and blacks were free.
How they are free?
You said what? What was your
If
question?
you're free, you can go anywhere you want.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Can I go into someone else's home if they didn't want me there?
That's not freedom. I'm talking about freedom in your house.
Right, but I'm asking you a question. You said if you're free, you can go anywhere you want. Am I allowed to go to someone's home if they don't want me there?
I'm talking about business-wise with anybody else.
Am I allowed to go into someone's business if they don't want me there? If we're in a free country.
That's not a free country. That's segregated country.
Oh, help me understand your help me understand your freedom here. So you're telling me in your free country we have to use in your version of a free country we have to use guns and pointing at people and tell them, hey, you better let this person into your business or else. That doesn't sound very free.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
So then how do you say it should be?
I'm talking about like an Italian, right? A black Italian.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, anywhere in Italy, he can go anywhere he wants. Right?
How do you know that?
How I know that? He's from Italy. He can go anywhere you want.
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you saying Italy had no segregation?
Anyway, I'm talking about segregation.
Yeah, but help me understand the point you're making with the black Italian. Are you saying that in Italy they have blacks, but they never segregated them?
Nope.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's comparable, personally.
I've been there too.
I don't know. Do you know a lot about Italy or something? Because I don't know if I know much as you, but I don't think they had like a large. I don't think they had the civil rights movement, and then they had to free them in the Civil War. I don't think they did all that. So.
No, they didn't do all that.
It makes me think that they don't have as many blacks too. You know, like you don't think of.
They don't.
When you think of America, you could think black or white. You could think maybe even But I don't know if that's a common thing. In Italy, I think of black people. I don't really think of that.
They also.
Am I being ignorant? I'm sure there's blacks there, but like Mario Balotelli, but I don't know if they had a civil rights movement. Am I tripping?
No. But anyway,
maybe
Jews
that's why, Stephen.
You know, Jews, they was treating Jews just as bad as we were.
Where?
What about the Jews?
You said they were treating them just as bad. Where?
And Jesus Christ was a Jew, right?
Yeah, he was a Jew.
Okay.
A Jew.
So if he came to America, he couldn't go into that restaurant.
Because he's Jewish?
Because he was Jewish.
That's your dog?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's my meat house.
You keep and own a dog? Train them and touch them and pet your dog and all that?
Yeah.
There you go, folks. You stop your judgments and your stereotypes. Okay.
No, not stereotype. Not stereotype. But getting back to how we was treated.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, you want to say that was not free. That was that this business
That's
telling
not
you.
Freedom.
I think it is.
America's supposed to be the land of free.
Aren't you supposed to be free to disagree?
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be free to not like someone? Aren't you supposed to be free to not like someone and you know what? If you're a free person, should you be free to not like someone?
Sure,
even if that person finds it a little mean.
Ain't no way you can get around it. It's still discrimination.
But that's what we're getting at. If you're truly free, shouldn't you be allowed to freely discriminate?
Go anywhere you want. Right.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like freedom. That sounds like oppression.
Home.
That sounds like
I'm
terrorism.
not talking about somebody's home. I'm talking about a restaurant, public people, where people go.
That's not public. That's someone owned that. Someone owns that restaurant. They bought it. They paid for it.
It's still a public restaurant. You know what I'm talking about.
You mean a government-owned restaurant?
It's public. It's for the public, right?
What do you mean? No, it's not. When you say public restaurant, do you mean a government-funded restaurant?
I didn't say no government restaurant.
Then we know what we're talking about. We're talking about a private business.
It's a public restaurant.
No, it's not.
Public.
Does a private owner own it?
Sure, private owner own it.
Then it's not a public restaurant.
It's still public. Come on. Don't pull no tricks on me.
You're making that up. That's not a trick.
No, I ain't messing nothing up.
No, that's not a public. If you're a private owner of a business, your business is not public. Like it's just any.
It is public.
No.
But what is it there for?
What does that mean to you? Maybe a misunderstanding.
Public means you can go anywhere.
No,
And the rest
I thought public
free.
versus private meant public means the government can own it. The
Now,
government
private is
owns it,
different.
and you can't discriminate because the law, as it stands, is
No,
you
no.
can't discriminate. But
No, no.
private
That-
means you own it. You're a private individual, and you can run it how you want, and that includes discrimination. At least it's supposed to be.
So why did they pass the law that's bad against discrimination?
Because people are brainwashed, and they're hateful.
Who's brainwashed?
Uh,
Who's hate?
yeah, people who voted for the civil rights movement.
They're hateful.
Yeah, brainwashed. Think about it. I mean, you had the freedom to discriminate, and then you got mad at that, and you're like, wait, you're not allowed to do that. So then you hate freedom, and you wanted to undo the freedom of freeing slaves, of the emancipation of slaves. So yeah, I'd conclude that those who agreed with the civil rights movement were people who did not like freedom.
They do like freedom. Why are they against it then?
Well, explain to me how freedom-loving people could so hate the freedom of the freedom to discriminate.
There's no such thing as freedom to discriminate. Come on, man.
No, we just disagree.
Come
But that's
on,
why
man.
I'd say if you support,
you playing games. You playing games now. Come on.
but you
And
discriminate,
know darn
don't you,
well what I'm
Stephen?
talking about. Say what?
But you discriminate in your daily life.
I don't discriminate.
Yeah, you do.
What did I do?
You picked a German wife. You picked your
What?
pretty. You picked your
I didn't
pretty German
discriminate.
wife.
That-
Let her
that was
soul
the
rest
only-
in peace.
that was the only thing
You didn't pick an
available.
ugly one.
I didn't do what?
You didn't pick an ugly one. You picked your
course
pretty
not.
German wife. Why did you say of course not? Why do you say
Hey,
of,
look,
of course? You said
look.
you said of course not to me, saying you didn't pick an ugly one. Why?
Well, I mean, that's the first one available. She might be prettier than me. Might be
No, it
ugly
was
somebody.
that was the, so you just picked the first one available. So if the first one was ugly, you would have been like, that's the one for me then.
That's right. The one I saw was the
Now
best
you're
one
playing
I saw.
games. Now you're playing games,
I'm not.
Steven.
No, I'm not. No. Come on, you can't pull that one on me.
That was the only one.
You
That
know,
was the
I
that
don't
was the only one
discriminate.
available.
Maybe I saw this one shit who liked me.
You said what?
That might be the only one they like me.
Maybe. Well, amazing.
Ain't no maybe in it.
Let
You
her
like
soul. May her soul rest in peace. Steven, man,
But
anything else you
getting
want
back
to?
to freedom.
You said
freedom
what?
is entirely different. You know darn what I'm talking about in discrimination.
I'm sincere on that. You
But
think I'm
back in
playing
the-
games?
but
I'm
back in the-
sincere that
wait a
you're
minute.
that the right to discriminate is truly freedom. I really believe that.
That's not freedom. But look, back in the day, Jesse won't admit it, but they said black people had their place. You knew where you were supposed to be.
What?
That was his utopia. You couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. This would be a free country, right?
What couldn't you do? Help me understand. What couldn't you do back then?
Well, you couldn't live in a white neighborhood.
See, it's always when they say I couldn't do you couldn't do this in America back then if you were black. What they mean is you couldn't. They always bring up an example where you're entitled to white people's stuff.
I ain't saying entitled.
Yeah, you're saying I
Ain't
can't
no
live
such
in a
thing
white
as
neighborhood.
entitled.
Why are you entitled to that? You know, never
What
will
do you
you
mean
hear
entitled?
someone say. Never, I've yet to hear it. I'm willing. That's why my lines are open. You can call me and tell me. But never have I heard someone say to the concept of what blacks couldn't do back in the day due to racism. Then it's never like, oh, they could do everything, but they just couldn't
couldn't
have
vote
white
either.
people's stuff. That's what they always say.
You know who gave us those problems was poor white folks.
You could marry, you could own homes, make businesses, live amongst each other and all that, but you can't have white people's stuff. And they'll forever say,
white
we
people's
couldn't do
stuff?
XYZ because of racism.
What do you mean white people stuff?
You just said it. You're like, when I asked you, like, what couldn't black people do in the so-called racist America?
I give it a tell you.
You say,
That's
I can't
not
have
white
white
people's
people's stuff in white people's neighborhoods.
No. I said neighborhood.
Right.
Right?
White people's stuff.
Okay. But what difference does it make? How did it get to a nice neighborhood? You got a trailer park. I ain't moving in no trailer park.
You said what? What did you just say?
You ever hear of a trailer park?
A channel what?
Trailer.
Yeah, a trailer.
You know what a trailer park is?
Oh, yeah. Trailer park, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not moving in there.
What's your point? Or are you saying
I
blacks
wanna
had
go
to move?
I want to go to a decent house.
Can you afford it?
So If just happen to be white people there, I'm moving there. Because I live in a decent neighborhood now.
Nice.
Surrounded by whites and blacks. They just got a little bit of money. See?
Nice.
I'm not around poor whites.
Freedom of association. You see how freely people can say, I don't want to be around you, or freely you could say, well, you know what? We could all live here together. That sounds like freedom to me. Steven, can you call me again?
Say that again.
Can you call me again? Or do you want to take a quick call here from Art out of Ohio? You got a minute here?
Oh, Art. That guy said, that guy there?
You want to talk to Art for a minute?
Yeah, I'll talk to Art.
Art, man. Oh no. What did I just do? I think I just I think I just did something bad. I may have hung up on him. Either I hung up on I think I may have hung up on him.
We'll see if
how you doing, Art?
All right. See if you can get him back on there.
If he comes back on, then I'll throw him on with you here.
All right. I just don't get it. I don't understand how other people don't see it. So I'm speculating. You said he got a German wife. So is she white?
Yes.
I know she white.
She was, I heard.
I know she white. Huh?
Yes, I heard.
You heard. Oh, I look, I don't like to.
Oh man, what the? How do you put two people on the air? I thought you just pressed this. Hit air twice. I did that. I was like, okay.
Hello?
I remember James saying hit air twice. Am I supposed to hit? No, air was blinking.
Oh, good.
Okay, I boomered it up. Okay, Steven, thank you for calling me back. I tried to put you on with Art, and then I ended up ruining everything.
Then you cut Art off.
I cut everybody off. What a mess.
Good
and now
job.
I cut off Art. So I appreciate it, Steven.
Okay. You done with me for today?
That'll be all, Steven. Can you call me again?
Okay.
I appreciate you calling in back.
Huh?
Yep. Take care.
All right.
We got Mark, Los Angeles. How you doing, Mark? Go ahead.
Oh, good. I just wanted to comment. First of all, Stephen is the best excuse for a literacy test at the voting booth that I've ever heard. He's an idiot. He wants to live among whites like a rat wants a feed off of a human, because we don't want his kind around. And if it wasn't for a bunch of white liberals, we wouldn't have mixed neighborhoods. I wish I wish you would have put me on with him. He's a pervert anyway. You heard how he talks. We've talked about it before. He likes to talk about his perversions on the air. I did.
What are you talking about? Like white women or something?
Yeah. Remember the last call?
Oh, something about that. Yeah.
His perversion. Yeah, he's an evil man. I did want to congratulate Zenny.
Out of Canada, our very own.
Yeah, he was great. You tried to put him on the ropes.
I did,
Nick, but
I
thought you did. Yeah.
Over what?
Over the Jewish question.
Oh yeah. You think?
Well,
why is that over the ropes? That's like a sincere question. I'm like, well, how? Isn't that me giving him an open forum? Like, that's a sincere question.
No,
I'm like, wait, how important
to...
is it that Jews created? I'm not denying it. I just really want to know.
Well, no, you brought up Mexican communists.
Yeah.
Well, Mexicans didn't invent that poisonous philosophy.
Right. I didn't deny that. I did not deny that.
No, but so why bring it up?
Well, it's a sincere question. How much does it matter that, let's say Zenny said, he said, for example, the term melting pot was created by a Jew. So
true.
Am I tripping? This is a sincere question. Am I supposed to now blame in perpetuity moving forward? Let's say anybody who uses that term moving forward, let's say an AOC, some Mexican communist I'm debating with for some reason, they called my show. They're like, no, America's a melting pot. Am I supposed to blame the Jews for that? That's a sincere question.
Indirectly, yes.
And see how we're having a conversation. You can make an argument for that you can indirectly blame them. But I would say, see now we're getting to a real thing. Now we're getting to like, now we're talking about stuff because now you got to explain indirectly and all that, because initially it's like you're directly blaming and it's a full thing, but now we're having a real thing. That's a sincere question.
I say indirectly because you'll be speaking to an Hispanic non-Jew. So indirectly, that person that says melting pot got that talking point from a Jew. So it could be
Maybe
traced
down
back.
the line somewhere.
Yeah, right. No denial. But the theory of communism in any color is a Jewish philosophy theory, and they don't
I guess
even
I'm
deny
crazy.
it. No,
Yeah,
they
I'm not
don't
denying
even
this.
deny it.
I don't have a dog in that. Apparently
What do you
logic
mean?
though, apparently just mere logic is crazy.
What do you mean by mere logic?
Because a Jew said melting pot. Now everybody who says that is it's a Jew. It's truly a Jew's fault, and not that individual's corrupt thinking and heart. I just don't get that.
It's both.
There you go.
It's both.
That's an answer that I can maybe understand a little bit more.
No, but I'm still not denying where the root of those words came from. It's like the word racist. That term was coined by a Russian Jewish communist under Stalin, and it was created to instill a guilt complex in the white man.
Yes, and guess what? A whole bunch of people want to instill a guilt complex on the white man, and they're not even thinking Jewish. They're not thinking we got to make it open society so that Jews could be better. There's a whole bunch of people who want to use that as a cudgel against America, the white man, the West, and they're not thinking any of those things. I think. I mean, you just have to just use some reason here and arrive to that. But I'm crazy for that, apparently.
Well, George Soros, the man funding the Open Society, he's Jewish. Reid Hoffman, the fat Jew that was at Epstein Island that funds all kinds of evil, he's a globalist Jew. These people don't even deny they're evil. Hake had on his show a couple of weeks ago a girl, some Jewish lady, I don't know what her position was, but she was bragging about Jews funding and supporting the civil rights crusade. And just one other thing on Denny's call, he talked about Jewish lawyers and judges. It was also Jewish money that funded the civil rights movement, as well as communist money from China and Russia. They were more than happy to help Martin Luther King and his communist movement. And on the other issue with this clown that just got off with you, the low IQ guy from Baltimore, he says it's not freedom to have your own business and discriminate. No, he's wrong. Your own business is like a home. You let in who you want and you keep out who you want. Look at the restaurants today, Nick. Look where these people, his people, the dummy from Baltimore, his people come in. I saw a clip on one of your competitors' show. About 18 of them came in, sat down, ate. I don't know. The bill was $600-700, and then they skipped out. Okay, and then dummies wonder why we had segregation. That's why, and I believe in segregation. When we had segregation, like I told Hake, when we had slavery, we had peace. We had racial peace. Not as much racial peace as we had under slavery, but it was more of a temporary stopgap before the civil rights movement integrated everything and is slowly destroying America. We could see our cities crumbling from integration and race mixing and black power takeover, black plague, however you want to put it. Integration has been a failure. It's been a failure in every way. And it's been detrimental to the white race. But again, going back to Zenny, his points. Pardon?
I said true say.
Oh, yeah, sure. But going back to Zenny, everything he said was right, man. Every word. I mean, he's got it down. He knows what he's talking about, and it all makes sense.
Smart bluish man.
Huh?
He's a smart bluish man.
He is. I respect him as a caller. The second
Black and
caller,
Jewish.
that guy's. The second
Bluish.
guy from Maryland, he's the problem.
You said what?
You just told the problem in America. And he wondered when he called Hake earlier, he wondered what I contributed to society. I'll answer the dope. I never collected a welfare check, never collected a food stamp, worked, retired, and succeeded. And I was never in jail, never a criminal. So I don't know what his background is, and I could care less. but he's worried about my background, what I've contributed. Well, his people have contributed to the destruction of my country. So he could chew on that for a while.
Someone questioned your contributions to the country?
He did on the Hake show earlier today. He got his little 2 cents in.
Well, I would think that you would. I think I would think that. What would you need? It sounds like someone was having you prove. I'm sorry, I'm not remember. I'm missing it. I didn't hear the conversation, but it sounds like someone's asking you to prove what, like justify your existence here. Isn't like your ancestry proof enough or whatever?
Well, I think what the dopey guy was thinking about. Me and Hake were talking about slavery and society and how we had a safe society under segregation. I mean, under segregation and especially under slavery. And I don't know, for some reason, the dopey guy conjured up this question and asked it through Hake, because he won't talk to me. What have I contributed in my life was his low IQ question. So I just answered it, and I don't think he's worth talking about anymore. But
well, thanks, Mark.
You got it, man. And you have a great show, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Call me again, man.
Will do. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 888-775-3773. We're rocking the calls. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. We got all these coffees. What the? Someone with crazy amount, with all these coffees. Look at all these coffees. What am I going to do with all this coffee? I don't even drink coffee. But I appreciate it. It says, thanks for having Mark and Woman Propaganda on your show. I hope you're following a competitor on Twitter as he's exposing Black History Month. Also follow a competitor. They detail how many foreigners are in the USA, welfare usage, and remittances. Thank you, someone with the coffees and the generosity. Appreciate that. Check it out. I did have Hayden McDougall on, impromptu guest. It was nice. Lori, thank you for the coffees. I will not read that on air as you requested. Thank you. Harmony, thanks for the super chat. Says Punchy was amazing, rebuilding the man in real time. Hashtag union dues. I appreciate that. We got another super chat here from, can't read your name. What's my take on the Punchy episode? Yeah, I don't know if this is the time for it. I honestly, I'll put it like this. I had an opportunity. Honestly, I had an opportunity during Punchy, and I wimped out. But you all saw it. We're working on it. Moving on. Thank you for your support. I want to get to Art out of Ohio, man. Look, I tried to put you all with Steven. I learned how to do it properly for the next time, but I ended up ruining that, man. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Man, I got to spark up one of these Newport 100s or whatnot. I mean, I know what Mark is trying to say, but that slavery nonsense or whatnot, I don't understand. I mean, I don't know how long he's been, because I want to know how long he's been living in California, because it's a big disconnect. And I noticed that a lot of people from like New York, places where slavery wasn't really it, they got a deluded mind of what is really going on or whatnot with the South. I don't know. I think it's more so because slavery wasn't in them areas. Long story short, Nat Turner, the reason why you can't have slavery or whatnot, especially in areas like Virginia, I think that's where the Nat Turner revolts was at in Virginia, somewhere in
I think you're right about that.
in the Virginia area or whatnot. Because you got certain demographic Negroes that were slaves that they didn't want to be enslaved. So you had people like what's her name, the Underground Railroad. They were trying to sneak
Harriet
people
Tubman.
up towards
Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. They was trying to. I heard she was a lesbian or whatnot. And
what?
I mean,
I had never heard that.
You ain't never heard that? Yeah.
No, I never heard that.
Yeah, they said she was a lesbian or whatnot. Bam. They said she had a white lover. A white lover. Yep. Long story short, no, the Nat Turner thing is what they a lot of them slaves, they was gonna start revolting. So that's why another reason why your boy Abraham Lincoln basically had to kind of break it up. He did it a subtle way though. He was like, we gonna induct them and let them, fight for their freedom. But it was dang near to a point to where he didn't have no choice, because with the Nat Turner, basically the slaves went in the Nat Turner house, I think, and killed them while the whole family when they was asleep. You see what I'm saying? So it was getting to the point to where it was going to be more trouble to keep them enslaved than just letting them be free and go ahead. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that would never work. What he's talking about, man. They released them and ended slavery for that reason, to keep from having a whole bunch of dead white people like that.
And what is it that he was proposing?
Huh?
What was it that he was proposing?
Who?
Mark.
Hey, Mark? No, I'm saying Mark. He's saying that was the best time. I mean,
oh, okay. I think I did hear him say that, but I think I was on Hake Report. But now I'm totally with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
How it was a better time, safer, etc.
Yeah. So that ain't no good or whatnot, or as far as because people ain't gonna just let you. Like, that's what's going to end up happening with they was going to start.
I just personally don't know how people can say stuff like that when they weren't there. I understand if you're trying to make some point, like you're trying to paint like a picture and say like, well, you say slavery is so bad, but look at all the crime from black people today and the mess of the country today. So was it really that bad? I mean, I can understand making a point. I don't quite understand when people are like, it was slavery was better. And you weren't even there. Like, but anyways.
I get what he's saying though. I get what he's saying that it might. But it wasn't, because it was going to turn to where they was going to end up start taking their families out. And I don't know if you know how the prison system is or whatnot. The inmates can always overthrow the guards. You see what I'm saying? Because it's more inmates than it is guards, i.e. a slave revolt. So it wouldn't have ended up being good. And they also was a story in West Virginia where, I forgot what his name. They was gonna try to revolt in West Virginia or whatnot, but somehow, some way, the dude couldn't get the blacks to get on order to revolt, and they had to call the National Guard, or I don't think it was the U.S. I think it was the National Guard. They had to come basically kill them. They was locked in like a little building, and they was shooting at the army outside the building. There was a whole bunch of them in the like slaves and people like that in a building in West Virginia when they were shooting at the army or whatnot. And that was, I don't know if it's around that time, but yeah, definitely. So another thing is with the dude with the caller from Maryland or whatnot, my problem is with him, where did I cut off when I was talking about Maryland, so I don't repeat myself?
Honestly, it was really early. It was right at the beginning. You may have said very little, personally. Okay. You may have talked more and not realized.
Okay, got you. So I always find it hard. These so-called pro-blacks, when you look at them, including him, the dude from Maryland, they always seem to have white partners, or married to white people, or they in relationships with foreigners that ain't the same color. And what's his name from the Maryland dude? He seemed like he's smart. If he loved his people so much, he's so pro-Negro and pro-black, and he for his people. Why couldn't he go out here and find another Negro woman to keep his bloodline strong? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the radical racialists always end up like mixing or something like that. I wouldn't even quite personally. I don't know if I'd quite put Steve in there. I don't know if maybe I'm wrong here. Like I don't know if he's like a black fist in the air, Black Panther. Like I think he was just like kind of normie, brainwashed civil rights into like, you just can't be racist and you can't keep me out of your business. And what do you mean you can't marry white women? So I think he's more like that. I really don't know how like racial he is. But point taken, man. Totally. No. You always see that. It's like, man, blackity, black, but they got right or they got like a white wife.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know, but he's talking like a pro-black when he's talking about back in the days and it's segregated, just like you said. If it's your business. If it's your business, why you don't have the right to be like, hey, I don't want to let this person in because of this or because of that. And they don't got to explain why they don't want to. There's plenty of other places you can go. You don't have to go into a white establishment. You see what I'm saying?
That is so true. That's not freedom.
If this white establishment is cooking food and they so-called allegedly racist, why, as a Negro American, would I want to go and get some food up out of their place and they telling me that they racist? That don't make no sense. Do I want spit in my sandwich?
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's it's proposed as being loving and nice, but it's actually wrong. It's oppressive. It hates freedom. It hates people, and it wants to control. That's the opposite of freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the sad part is, you taking away the businesses' right. You saying that you taking away the citizens' right, but you actually taking away the businesses' right to be able to pick and choose who they want to serve. You see what I'm saying? So, and then he was talking about back in the days, he got enough money to buy a house or whatnot. He don't want to live in a trailer park and this and this and this and that. Okay, it's black neighborhoods that got nice houses or whatnot, and they in black neighborhoods. They nice houses in black neighborhoods. First thing he said, I want to get he allegedly don't like discrimination. He's so pro-black. First thing he said, he want to get a house and move around the so-called races and the whites.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like he's discriminating blacks. He's quite discriminating in his own life. You're saying too.
Well, yeah, he is discriminating. But what I'm saying is, you so pro-black and you got enough money, you can go buy a house in the black neighborhood and be around your same pro-blacks that you screaming about right now on this phone.
Yeah, it kind of reveals his thinking too, right? Well, but I see what you're saying, man. Yeah, it's like, why does that entitle you to living in a place? Here's the point, and to add to what you're saying, the point is, why does that entitle you to living somewhere where people don't want you there?
Yeah, exactly. And my thing is this. See, I don't have no problem with discrimination, or not discrimination, but with segregation or discrimination, because I know how to go places and act like I got sense. You see what I'm saying? So I can go. Hake ain't gonna tell me I can't come into his business and get served, because I know how to conduct and carry myself like I got sense.
He wouldn't even need to. Yeah.
Exactly. The problem is you got too many of these more blacks and a lot of more whites too, or whatnot. They want to come in and cause ruckus and cause a whole bunch of problems. I don't like how they looking at me. I don't like how they talking to me. I don't like. You see what I'm saying? Well, stop going in there. Why you got to change the rule to force somebody to like you?
That is so true.
You see what I'm saying?
100%.
So, and then this is another thing or whatnot. You know, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say. They always say when was it great or whatnot. When was America great? In my pawpaw's generation, and even up to about when I was all the way up to when I was about 11 or 12 or whatnot. It's places, like I said, it's black. My pawpaw live in a black neighborhood or whatnot, and in a black area. They don't have high crime in the area where my pawpaw live. You see what I'm saying? So don't get it misconstrued.
There you go.
And think, huh?
I said, there you go. There's an example right there.
Yeah. Or whatnot. Don't and the blacks where my papa, he live around whites, and it's not a lot of crime. And the blacks around in that area, not all. Most of them is hard working, and they do construction, and they act like they got sense. So don't think that all these so-called, just because you see in places like Baltimore, Maryland, where there's a whole bunch of them Muslims, alleged Muslims running around, that all the blacks is messed up. Because in it's areas definitely where these blacks, Negro black Americans, know how to act or whatnot. But God bless you.
Loud and clear,
I will
Art.
catch you later.
Call me again, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And Rick out of Hampton, Virginia, I couldn't get to you, and everybody else. I see your calls coming in. That's the end of the show. I got to go. More American Anchor Baby tomorrow, Friday style. You don't want to miss it. Like and subscribe. Follow the channel. Make sure you got the bell so you know what we're going to do. Open Line Friday, the Hake Report, Fallen State, and more American Anchor Baby tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in today. Take care for now. Peace. See ya.
The views, information, thoughts, and opinions expressed during this show are the individual's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of the JLP Network or Bond. Their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. The JLP Network and Bond name and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service.